Oh yeah, we should have everything. Cool. All right. Boring week. Right. Not too much to say. Especially if we are going to compare, how we started this week up until where we are now, which we are literally right where market open is. Excuse me. Right. But here's the interesting part. Remember that last week, right? We pointed out that although, right, wherever this was, right, wherever the 2-day inefficiency was, right, the 2-day inefficiency created a reaction, solidifying the high, right? So we now have an overall external disruption in terms of our overall direction. Therefore, we are bearish, right? But the thing is if we're looking at equilibrium, we are inside of a discount, right? And so something that, we noted, right, was I wanted to see if we were going to retouch structure before, we continued lower, right? Because we had the inefficiency that we pointed out. As you can see, right, we had the reaction from the 50%, and as we start zooming in to price, right, we're pretty much at a standstill, right? And there's two things that can happen here, right? So for example, my decisional point here is around this kind of like a turbulence point on smaller time frame, right? As you can see, inefficient, efficient, efficient, inefficient, right? So there's always the possibility we could also come back up here, but I don't like coming back up here because remember, if we're zooming in, right, we have pretty much low, continuation, pullback, solidified low, new structural range, premium, continuation, meaning this is where order flow is essentially located. So right, I want to see if we can get any type of reaction from here and then continue lower, or if we break through, we might come up here, but I would now see this as not only in a type of internal leg break, as you can see, the final push down started here, right? That would be an internal leg break, a type of disruption, but I don't want to call that disruption unless we react and then take it out, then I would call it disruption. So if that does happen, right, then I will more than likely be convinced that we come reach this high, especially because this high does not make much sense to me in terms of this wick, in terms of this inefficiency. As you can see, it missed. So this move does not make much sense to me, right? And if this does clear to the upside, then what do we have here if this happens, right? Who sees it? Right, does anybody see it? What happens if this occurs? I want to see if somebody sees it. I'm looking for one word. No, not showing its hand. Kind of like showing its hand, but it's not the word I'm looking for. You're close though. That's not the word I'm looking for though. Looking for one word. Excuse me. Optimism. Yes. So if we have optimism, right, then now is when we can start, looking at our preliminary support, right, selling climax, secondary test, spring test, optimism, LPS, continuation, right? So the only way that occurs, right, it makes a lot of sense to me, especially if we cause a disruption here. If we cause a disruption, right, I want you guys to look into this. If this causes a disruption, right, then I promise you we might come in back into this area and then go back forward. Why? Because if there is a disruption, then that means that, let's say this is our solidified low. I'm sorry, let's say this causes a reaction that causes a liquidity grab, and we come into into a potential POI, and then cause a disruption, right? Because we broke a previous low. Let's say this is now a solidified high is taken out, that is disruption, right? So if this disruption occurs, then that means there's money sitting here. So if we have optimism, I more than likely would believe that we will come in here and go forward. So that makes a lot of sense to me. I'd love to see this occur. If this does occur, then cool, we have a short position on a potential accumulation on DXY that's based on that's based on, well, not this time frame, right, but the H4 50% here, right? The H4 50% there, right? So if that does occur, no, it would not be completion. It's just your sign that there is a potential schematic there. Your completion is phase E, right? So optimism isn't a Wyckoff concept. That's a concept that I have, but it's just more so incorporating showing its hand into a schematic. So right, let's say we are here. Let's say we are here, right? And like I said, there is a maybe what if there's a POI there. We cause a type of reaction. Then we have a disruption. Right now, I would love to see the mitigation, right, create a high, right? But if this area, which is technically equilibrium, is then taken out, I'm not too interested in wanting to take longs here without more confirmation, right? If that makes sense. Yeah, but I mean, this is a very interesting area. I do want to see what happens overnight, and then pretty much go from there. Because looking at EU, it's also super sloppy, right? In terms of overall structure, the move has already occurred. Like we already have essentially showing its hand here. So the thing about this, right, is we do have equal highs that were then taken out, right? So I don't want to call this a UTAD without any type of, you know, showing its hand, because for all we know, this can just come back into this wick and getting higher, right? Because at the end of the day, overall leg is bullish, final leg is bullish, right? Internal leg is bullish. You see, so I don't want to assume that per se. I don't want to assume that, right? Especially now if we go into smaller time frame, right? This could be a very nice reaccumulation, even though this liquidity grab or potential break of structure could be very significant, right? Because this is technically a liquidity grab to the downside, right? But just because the liquidity grab occurred doesn't mean we can't react, you know, down here, right? Because for all we know, right, this is equal highs, this is optimism, this is the discount, and this is reaccumulation, right? So you have to wait for that reaction, and for all we know right now, I cannot assume a distribution, right, unless something is taken out here, right? And you could also look at this from this perspective, right? There is this perspective here. So if we cause a reaction, right, and we then fall, and then we fail, right, then that is internal disruption in terms of internal inside the range. So if we come back up, then it makes sense to sell, I'm sorry, and you can then look for a hedge position at a potential bullish POI, right? And either way, you're going to win, right? So there is two things that can happen, right? You can capitalize on both, but you must wait for the proper reaction, right? Because this does look like a continuation. Looks like a 50% here. Let's just say we don't fill, continue lower, right? But for the most part, just looking at our overall closures, our overall direction, right? This is showing potential weakness, right? And that is due to the fact this is a very key area, right? But this does not make sense for me to become bearish, right? Because if you want to maybe consider this, actually, I need to check if this actually mitigated something. Yeah, so see, there's a different perspective here as well, right? If we look at this inefficiency, the inefficiency is valid because we broke internal levels of structure, solidifying this as a high. This now liquidity grabbed and actually took the overall structure. So this is a disruption because this was taken out, right? So you see it's the same thing as DXY as well. So either we can have a short-term distribution, bring us into equilibrium, right? And I note this because of the wick, and then this candle, you can see the wick in the candle, right? Potential turbulence point maybe, but you know, we could always come back and then fully go, right? I am fully bullish on this. This is not, I don't want to, you know, sell this anymore. It doesn't make sense, right? So I know a couple of you are still in from here. Those entries will definitely boom over time, right? And it really feels like we're back here again, right? It feels like we're back here again, something here, right? Where the correction has occurred, but the bullish sign has shown itself, and you know, we have now even have another bullish confirmation, right? So even though we sold here, this buy, right, actually, you know, kind of looks more like this in terms of breaker structure, right? And breaker structure. So I'm getting the similar vibes, but now it's just to see how deep of a retracement we will get, and then, you know, pretty much dictate everything from that. If we're looking at GU played out, right? Does this move make sense to you guys? Do you guys know why this made sense to me? Did you guys watch the video on that? Cole is trying to get in the webinar. Sergio's on the host. Okay, yeah, but he's in. Cool. Do you guys see why this move made sense? And I mean, you could even see another perspective here on this time frame even. Yeah, but did you guys watch that video? Let's see, where's my phone? Dang, so you guys are not watching these videos, so why am I making them? Yes, I mean, this is the move we discussed, remember? In the last case study. Alright, does this move make sense? Alright, what do you see here? What do you see there? Yep. No, but what do you see here? Internal disruption, yes, exactly. Disruption. Right, so actually I didn't even see this till right now, but you see it's another confirmation there. Right, and that's why this leg here makes sense. Right, so even though, you know, I would have potentially wanted this, right, order flows show differently. Right, because I honestly did want this here, right, but obviously now once this happens, then it's different, you know. Right, and then this played out. I don't see, it wouldn't have made sense to me for this to come back lower after, let's say, after the market open, which is here, right? Because if this started to retrace, this would have shown too much effort for me for this to go higher, and it probably could have failed. So it made a lot of sense for me as to why this boomed, and it should continue. It's like, if we're looking at this now, right, this here kind of looks like right, yeah, these are actually still here, right? That kind of looks like this, right? Right, curve, and right, another curve, Right, I wouldn't consider this a schematic, but right, this was never bearish. Internal break. Right, and then the disruption here supported the overall bias. Right, that makes a lot of sense to me. Right, correlating swing, major intraday, minor intraday, and then finding an entry makes a lot of sense. But yeah, other than that, I mean, not too much today. It's just we need to see what DXY does for this week. It looks like we could start pushing back up. But yeah, let's see what happens. Do you guys have any questions? Any questions? Hey, you please. Oh, I haven't even looked at this, if I'm being honest. This hasn't moved at all either. This is bullish. I don't know what you want me to say here. This is bullish. Right, I was actually looking at this when this happened last week. Kind of sad I didn't capitalize here or here. Yeah, no, this is bullish to me now. I mean, this is always bullish to me, right? But especially because of this. Right, and I do remember that we caught this move here. But yeah, I mean, what do you want to talk about with AU? I mean, this is bullish. I don't see this reaching deeper, right? Outside of this wick, that doesn't make sense to me. All right, show me what you're seeing then. I see continuation BOS. Cool, so what is it with? No, I don't see a scam here, bro. Where is the scam? Where's the scam? Right, what's the scam? Come on, bro. Can you guys not edit my screen, or I don't know how to fix that. Bro, I can't go based off what you're telling me. You have to write on the chart, bro. Like, I can't do that. Like, you gotta show me something on the chart. I think you're talking about here. No, this is so ugly. No. Right, so can somebody tell me why this isn't a scam?
It's a lot of liquidity grabs in both directions.
Yeah, definitely. Liquidity grab, liquidity grab, liquidity grab, liquidity grab. No man's land. Yeah, this is not, it's not clean. Right, a schematic is clean. A schematic is, well, I like that this is horizontal, but this is not clean to me. And I mean, if you're wanting to look at the no man's land, you could see here, right, mitigation. Order flow is down to the downside currently, but this is super sloppy. I'm not trying to play, you know, inside of this range. Because you have unwillingness, yeah, no man's land. But I mean, who's to say this doesn't just react from here and moon? Yeah, no. This is not a scam. No. I do like how volume was introduced inside of the structural range, but I mean, this is, keep in mind, this is the start of New York. So that also makes a lot of sense. Yeah, yeah, so when you see double liquidity grabs, like, it's kind of hard to dictate direction. Yeah, no, I wouldn't see this as a scam. Right, if anything, right, this would have been phase E. Right? Right, and then it failed. Right before phase E. So this could have been a schematic, but it failed. Yeah, so this right here killed the entire bias. So now this is something like, I don't want to touch this. It doesn't, you know, I mean, I would like for it to go lower because now, right, let's say we do come lower, right, we're now looking at a discount, right, you're looking at a discount now in terms of low and high. This is where the momentum came into play. Right, so this would be a decisional point in price on whether we continue higher or we break. So yeah, we could easily say structural range, continuation BOS, moon. That makes sense. But yeah, I mean, if this is gonna set up, I would say it's gonna set up tomorrow morning. Probably not during London, unless you're trying to catch a continuation. But yes, anyways, I do have one question. Right, do you guys follow the Twitter? Do you guys follow the RCV Twitter? All right, okay, you don't like Twitter, that's fine. Do you see, no, yeah, I don't like Twitter either. It's so toxic. It's a, oh my gosh. But anyways, did you guys see what I talked about today? No, yeah, Twitter's as toxic as it gets. Like, yeah, people there are fucking weirdos, honestly. So, do you guys know what I meant with what I talked about today? Right, like, I don't know, but, you know, I've always heard that comparing yourself to somebody else is bad. That's all I've ever heard, and I think that's BS. Right, like, has your mom ever told you that? Or, like, has your friend ever told you that? Not even leverage your mentors, leverage everything. Everything is leverageable, bro. Information is everywhere, you know what I'm saying? Right, information, knowledge, right, tools are everywhere, right? From a car to a pencil to a keyboard, right, to you breathing, right? Right, like, I leverage my bed to get rest, right? Like, I leverage my car to get from A to B, right? I leverage Twitter to, you know, keep an open mind and to, you know, keep a personal journal, a personal public journal that helps not only me, but other people, right? So everything is leverageable, right? So if everything is leverageable, then why is comparing yourself to something a bad thing or someone, right? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. And that ties to, there's actually a concept behind that that's called, social comparison theory. right? Where pretty much there's two types of comparison, upward and downward. And it's like upward is like the positive way of, or the unbiased way of looking at comparison, whereas downward would be like the negative version of looking at, you know, comparison, right? Because there's two different types of comparisons. There's like, you know, the envy, jealousy side, and then there's the coachable, unbiased side. Yeah, exactly. And that's pretty much what I said today. Like I said, unpopular opinion, comparing yourself to others isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? But it has to be within reason, and it must be objective. A good way to catch up to the best is to study the best. Like, is that right or wrong? Well, technically, I don't think that is a right or wrong thing. But I mean, it's the natural thing to do. Is like if you want to do something, then you know you're probably going to look at somebody who's successful at it, and then you're probably going to follow their footsteps, or at least take something from it. You know, or you can pick and choose. It's all up to you, right? But you pretty much are studying the best if you want to become the best. Right now, you know, you could obviously take that a step further, but that's a different topic. And then, you know, however, do not allow comparison to evolve into envy and jealousy, right? Because that is when essentially you skew the comparison, right? And then essentially, you know, look at the negative side of it, the downward comparison. Right, so I don't know, my friend brought that up today. My friend brought that up today in a group chat, and that kind of, you know, started, you know, causing me to think, and, you know, we got there. Right, and you can pull so many principles from that. I think it's super interesting. But I mean, yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't really have much for today. Enjoy the process. Yeah, I mean, enjoy. Yeah, I don't know if I like enjoy, but I do like enjoy, but I'm looking for a different word. I would more so like to be fully aware of the process, right? Because I think if you're aware of it, you know, and you enjoy what you're doing, then that's how you're gonna, you know, fully enjoy it, even though I said enjoy twice, but I think you get what I mean. Yeah, conscious of the process. I like that. I like that. Right? I think being conscious will allow you to be in the moment, right? Because like I also need to research to see if in the moment has its drawbacks. Because like for example, I live so much in the moment that like honestly like I don't even remember half the stuff I did in my life type of thing. Like maybe that could be a retention problem. I don't know. But yeah, I'm super conscious of what's happening like now in my life, that I'm super, you know, kind of super enjoying it. Power of Now. I've heard of that before. I think somebody I know has read that, I think. I don't know. I think so. Good read. Yeah, I'll check it out. I don't know how so many people read books so fast, though. That's kind of my thing. I think it's super hard to read a book like in a month, especially if you're actually trying to retain what you read. I think it's super hard. So I have a bunch of list of books that it will take me probably years to finish, if I'm being honest. Watch it. Yes, Man. What's that? Is that a movie? If that's a movie, I'll literally put it on after the call. Yeah, I mean, it's so hard, you know. Like it's like I mean, honestly, it could just be that I'm a dummy, you know. It could just be that I'm a dummy. But it's super hard for me to retain stuff. Like, I think it's on Netflix now. Is that a? Let me see. It's a comedy. What do you mean by parallels? Kind of confused what you mean by parallels. You can unmute yourself if you want to. Ah, I see. Yeah, man, now that I don't have school, like, every day, I can actually watch a movie. How long is your moment? Forever. Forever and always. But yeah, do you guys have anything else to touch up on? I do plan on starting, like I said, I do plan on starting one-on-ones this week. I just need to figure out like the best way to find something that organizes the meetings. Like I can just, you know, put here that I have availability this time on, like, you know, whatever day it is, and then have you guys just first come first serve. I tried Calendly. Calendly was awful. I tried I'm trying I was looking at, which one is this one? What is this? Accu something. But that's pretty complicated too. I might just use Google Calendar. Hopefully that works out. But yeah, other than that, I'll probably make a new tab on the Discord and, you know, just to see the requirements and how everything's gonna go. Public Excel sheet? What do you mean? Like how it, like, for example, have a public Excel and then have somebody just write their name, or what? How does that work? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think somebody would just come in and delete it, you know? Like, I'd rather have it be like, you know, a solid way of somebody just, whoever first gets it, you know? And I'll keep an Excel of a spreadsheet of, you know, who and when, you know? So that way, in case anybody hasn't been able to get one and somebody does get one, then I'll start, you know, messaging. But I don't think it's gonna, you know, be overflowing like that. I'll probably be doing 1, 2 a day, a couple days a week, nothing crazy. And as for how we're gonna go about it, so look, also I'm not gonna be teaching you what's it called. I'm not gonna teach you like what's on the course on a call. You know, like don't just come in here and tell me how do I find a POI. Don't tell me how to do this and this. The point of the one-on-one is I want to see what you're doing. Um, I want to see what you're doing, right? And I want to see what goes wrong. And I'm not really going to touch up on what you're doing right, because what I think is right and what you think is right is completely subjective to our result, right? So I want to just touch up on the bad things and see how we can fix that, because it's more than likely either a psychological issue, a rule issue, maybe you have a rule wrong, or, you know, something like that. Like, you know, I don't really want to waste time. Which is why, you know, I'm not going to let the new people, you know, just jump in on them. It doesn't, that's kind of irrational for me to do. I don't. It's up to you, bro. All I care for is I don't really care for you to send me journals. I care more for you to make sure that you know the info. Like for example, I know you know the info. So like I said, I just want to touch up on the bad things, you know. Like I want to make it like as productive as possible because I'm only gonna they're only gonna be what 45-50 minute calls, you know. So instead of wasting time and wanting to teach you a concept, you know, we can just do that. And I mean. And if you guys want to talk afterwards, I don't mind. Like, if it's not trading related, I don't mind. Like, I get on calls with people whenever they want me to. But this is more so just a way to, you know, stay organized. But yeah, other than that, I think we can end it off here. Cool. Alright guys, I'll see you on Saturday. Hopefully EU moves some of these, you know, one of these days.